You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of my friends around the world. It's a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. I'm out of breath, y'all. It's a shame. 68 degrees going up to a high of 79. I ran up the stairs. I know, it's a shame. Don't judge me. Do not judge me. It's a beautiful day anyway. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. What is it, Taco Tuesday? I don't know. Taco Tuesday is Tuesday, April the 2nd. You know, it's so funny. I remember when I was a kid, we used to do April Fool jokes. Like, it was crazy. I didn't get not one April Fool joke yesterday. Not one. And I just thought that was interesting because we normally have April Fool jokes all the time. Somebody's pranking somebody. Not one. So has April Fool jokes died out? Like, what happened to them? Like, that used to be the funniest thing ever, but nothing happened. But anyway, it's a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. Listen, today is Talk Tech Tuesday, and I was going to talk tech today, but someone reached out to me yesterday, and they are a political candidate, and I decided I want to talk about why I believe well, let me just say this. I believe that if you're running for a community leader position, you're a political candidate, you should have a podcast. That's my belief, right? And plenty of people have asked me to run for a political seat here in Gwinnett County, and I have continuously said no. And I said no because I just don't like being censored like that. So when you are a community leader, even as a business person, you run into scrutiny, right? But you can pretty much kind of say what you want to say as a business leader. But as a community leader, everything you do is scrutinized. So you have to I feel like you have to walk on eggshells when you're a community leader. So I have continuously said, no, I don't want to run for office. I've had someone approach me about 3 times, like at the end of last year, 1 time this year, year before that. It's just not something that I want to do. But if I were going to run, I tell you right now, I will run a death campaign. My campaign, of course, it would be high tech, right? Because I'm high tech. I'm not really high tech. I'm mid tech. But if I was running a campaign, it would be a high tech campaign. And the reason I say that is because technology changes things, right? It leverages the playing field. It gives you more control. It's just a lot. And even when I think about right now, I've talked to plenty of candidates. I even had a couple on the show. And, they have their campaign budgets that they put together. I get so many campaign flyers in the mail and they go in the trash. Here's why, because I don't know them people. Most of the people that come in my mailbox, I have no idea who they are. And I can tell you, if you sat down and you broke bread with me, we've developed a relationship. 9 times out of, and I like what you do, and I like you as a person, and I understand what you stand for. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to vote for you, right? I remember going to the poll one year, and this is funny, but it's a true story. We had went to the Greater East Side Chamber of Commerce Gala, my husband and I. And I was the vice president at the time, so I didn't really sit down towards the end of the night at our table. So my husband was sitting at a table with my friend Georgette with pretty much all judges, right? I didn't know they were judges. So when we left the gala, he's like, "You sat me to the table with all judges." And I was like, "I didn't. They just sat there, right?" So they sat at the table with him. They knew each other. They were all judges. They just happened to sit at our table. And he was sitting at the table because I'm the one moving around so much. So when we went to the poll to vote, it was a judgeship slot on the ballot, right? So he and I standing side by side at the poll, and I was like, I don't even know who to vote for here. Like, I don't know these people. So it was a judge. There was a candidate name on the ballot who he knew because the guy sat at our table at the gala. He's like, "Oh, that was a nice guy. Vote for him." Now, this is what normally happens at election time, right? What normally happens at election time, this is what my mother, when my mom was alive, my uncle, my daughter, and my husband. I would make out the candidate list and I would email it to everybody and I said, "These are the people we're going to vote for." This is how it happens in my life, in my life, right? Because nobody is out in the community in my immediate family except for me. So I know people, I've met people, I've talked to people. My mom before she passed, she wasn't out there. My uncle wasn't out there. My husband's not out there. My daughter's not out there. I'm the one out there in the community, right? And I'm sending out a list of people to vote for. These are the people you're going to vote for. So this particular time, we're standing at the polls, and we're standing at the polling, and my husband said, "Oh, vote for this guy. He was a nice guy. I had a chance to talk to him." So they had a conversation. That's who we voted for. So I said all that to say, personally for me, if I were to, maybe one day in life, I might change my mind when I don't have anything to do, when I'm not running the chamber and running my own business. Maybe I will decide to get into community leadership on the political side. If not, I feel like I'm a community leader already, being the president of a chamber. But if I were to run, I will tell you right now that content marketing would be a huge part of my campaign. I'm talking about huge. Paper marketing, not so much. And here's why. Because people take the card and they put it in the garbage. They take the campaign flyer, they glance at it, because it's normally in the mailbox. They're normally coming home from work. They normally got the kids. They got to go in and cook dinner. They're tired. So they glance at it. They throw it in a pile somewhere, or they throw it in the trash. So that I can tell you, I have no idea who these people are. I don't even take time to even look at the flyer, because when I glance at the picture, if I don't recognize the picture, it goes in the trash. I'm just being honest. So it's a waste of money is what I'm saying. I feel like a waste of money. Or it should be a part of your campaign. You shouldn't spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on campaign flyers. People put them in the trash. So if I were running a campaign, content marketing would be a huge part of my campaign. It will be a huge part of my campaign budget. And the reason I say that is because people, just like in business, they vote for people they like and know. Let me say that again, because some politician missed that. People will vote for people that they resonate with. They find something in common with. They like and they know. That's the bottom line. So when you start creating content, and today we're going to be talking about podcasting specifically, right? I would definitely have a podcast. I would definitely have a YouTube channel. I would have anywhere I can put my face and my voice. I would have it, right? And this is the reason I would have it, because one, it creates a personal connection. It creates a personal connection. So I'm going to run down 5 reasons why I believe every political candidate should have a podcast. The first one is it creates a personal connection, right? If people are seeing you and hearing you, and what's nice about this, when I get finished doing this show this morning, it's live right now. When I get finished, the show lives on. And guess what happens? The show is still going, right? It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on iHeart, it's on podcasts, it's on Podchaser, it's on CastBox. It is still going. Guess where I'll be? Having breakfast. But the show is still going. Someone may listen to this show and say, I like that episode. And you know why I know people will say that? Because they listen to my show. I see the stats that they listen to my show. So I know they're listening. If I were a political candidate, I would have a podcast. Oh my God, I don't want to start a podcast. I don't have the time. Yes, you do. You could put out a 5-minute message every single week. You do. In your voice. You can create a 5-minute video, take the audio out, put it on the podcast platform, take the video out, and put it on a YouTube channel. And then share both of those on your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yes, you do. But people will fight me tooth and nail. I'm telling you right now, if it were me, huge part of my campaign. It creates a personal connection. People get to hear your voice. If you're doing a video podcast, they get to see your face. They get to see how you really feel about things. Because let me tell you this. Most people vote because they've been doing it forever, right? But I'm telling you, I feel like we're getting to the point where campaigns are falling on deaf ears. And that's why when you see people don't show up at the polls, like they didn't show up because they hear the same content over and over and over again. It's always the same message. You should vote for me because this, that, and the third. They haven't seen you. I'm just keeping it real and being honest right now today. They haven't seen you ever Then you pop on the scene from somewhere and you want them to vote for you because you got these 5 bullet points that you think is really important to them. You haven't talked to them. You haven't made a personal connection with them. They don't know who you are. They've never seen you before, and they should vote for you. You get up there, you throw some dirt on the other candidate's name, right? Hoping that would bring them over to your side. And sometimes it does, because some people just like messy. So they will come over to your side, but I'm thinking if you slinging dirt, you messy. So you're going to bring all the messy people. But here's the thing, at the ballots, their vote counts. That's all I guess matters. But how about this? If I were starting, if I thought I was going to run, my campaign would start 4 years prior to me running. I could be planning a campaign right this minute, 4 years out. It would start 4 years. I would be a community activist without a title. I will have a podcast. I will talk to community leaders on my podcast. I will talk to everyday people on my podcast. You know why? Because it builds a personal connection. And it's not that much work to do. It's not that hard. But people just make it seem like it's so hard. It's not. Here's the other thing about having a podcast. You control the narrative. You control what you want to say. You control the sound bites. You control the message. You control the entire thing. You have policies. You have views that you want to put out. You get to talk passionately about the things that you're passionate about. Can you feel my passion right now? Because I love podcasting. I feel like it's one of the best mediums out there to get your message out there. And when you have campaign dollars to push it even further, you will touch so many more lives. I get it. You got to go around, you got to knock on doors. I understand all that. I'm just saying this should be a part of your platform, a huge part, in my opinion. You control the narrative. You control the message. You control the entire thing. It's because it's yours. You don't have to wait and see what somebody's going to write about you. You don't have to wait and see what they're going to say about you. You don't have to wait to be invited on a podcast. You put out your own message. Put the message out there consistently. Let me say that part. Consistently. You can't put out one today and then come back 6 months down the line when it can't do that. It needs to be consistent. And I think that's what people fall at. They feel like, okay, it's going to take too much time. And it really does not. You have at least 30 minutes. Listen, you don't even have to have a 30-minute podcast. You have at least some time in your schedule in a 30-day period where you can say, you know what? I'm going to create this podcast episode. I'm going to put it out. Here's the thing. It's pretty simple to do. And if you don't want to do all of the footwork to get you, the legwork to get you started, just hire somebody to get you started. All you got to do is show up on the microphone. That's it. I host a podcast every other Monday with a pastor, a minister. And all she does is show up. I send her the link to the show. I send her the graphic to the show. I schedule the show. And when she shows up, I'm sitting there right next to her. And she talks about 45 minutes. I jump in every now and again. But that's what she pays for. Because she says, I know I need this. I just don't want to be the one to do it. You can do the same thing. Find somebody to sit there with you if you need them. But if you don't need somebody to sit there, just hire somebody like me to say, set me up so I can just jump on the show and get going. Once I do it, it's done. It's that simple. You control the narrative. The other thing, the biggest thing, well, not the biggest, one of the biggest, is the accessibility to your show, right? You have the opportunity to be everywhere all the time and you're somewhere else. You know how people say, oh, I wish there were two of me. Well, your voice can be duplicated. You can create the podcast, run some ads to the podcast, focus in, you can geo-focus in on your audience. This episode right here is geared towards Norcross, Georgia. And I'm going to have this translated into Spanish. This episode right here is geared towards Duluth, Georgia. And I'm going to have it translated into Mandarin. So now you hear my voice. Yes, you can do all of that. Your voice speaking Mandarin. Let me tell y'all something. If I were running, your girl would have a campaign out of this world. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because I understand tech. I understand the power of content creation. I understand that. I understand the power of engaging with the community. I understand being personable and making connections with people. I understand. Now listen, we're not going to please everybody because we can't. It's just not going to happen. Right? But when people like and know you, you can control that part. And if they decide at some point they don't want to like and know you anymore, fine. But here's the thing. The message is out there. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep talking about it. It's important. It's accessible, y'all. Let me tell you something. Do you know anybody right now who does not have a cell phone? Anybody. And I can tell you can probably count them on one hand. The people that you know personally. I know no one, not a person who does not have a cell phone. I'm talking about an adult person who does not have a cell phone. Heck, my granddaughter's 5. She has an iPhone. She's 5. She has an iPhone. She has a telephone number. We call her number. Her mother took the phone because she was on YouTube looking at stuff she shouldn't look at. But she has a phone. She's 5 years old. There's an app on your iPhone that if you got an iPhone, there's an app. It's purple. That's a podcast iPhone. Here's the other thing. You say, you know what? I don't want people searching through the podcast iPhone. I want to have my own app. Guess what? And you absolutely can for about $40 a month. Your own political app on everybody's phone so you can send them messages whenever you want to. When a new episode goes live, guess what? They'll get a notification that there's a new episode live. And it goes right to their telephone. And guess what they can do when they're walking on the track, when they're supposed to be working, when they're in the grocery store? Guess what they can do? Listen to your message. Because guess what? They missed the flyer. They threw it in the trash. The mail got lost. The dog ate the flyer. All of these things happen, but they're walking in the grocery store right now and they got 10 minutes. They got 20 minutes and you got a 5-minute podcast. I listen to podcasts in my car all the time. All the time. Only time I listen to music in my car for real almost is when someone's in the car with me. When I'm in the car by myself, it's on a podcast. It's on Audible. It's on Amazon. I'm listening to something that's going to enlighten me and educate me, empower me. That's what I do. But here's the thing. Somebody could be listening to you talk about why they should vote for you. So you control the narrative and it's accessible to anyone. All right, listen, I'm going to go to some. Can y'all feel my passion? Because this is something that I will run this campaign in the ground if it were mine. And maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll be on here talking to you as your political candidate. I'm going to go to a song. I'll be right back after the song to bring you more of why I believe all political candidates should have a podcast. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Time's been moving slowly, so we already in too deep. Can't get no sleep on each other, heavy teasing all day. And when the sun sets, you asking me to come through quicker with you. Night turning to morning through, then you got the key to the lock, we in our own zone. Make yourself at home, get to know mine on the inside. We can meet at yours next time. And you feel it freshening, lose control. You don't wanna go slow, for sure. We both already know your place is my place now. Let's face it, baby, you know all the places.
Welcome back. It's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily dose of why I think all political candidates should have a podcast. So we talked about controlling the narrative. We talked about accessibility. We talked about creating a personal connection. The other thing about podcasting is you can also increase engagement with the people that you want to vote for you. Like you can bring them into a podcast with you. Hear what they have to say right there on air. If you're doing a video podcast, let's say you were doing a live video podcast and let me say this, going live on Instagram is not a podcast. It's a live on Instagram. A podcast goes on podcasting platforms. So if you go live on these platforms, if you can get the MP3 audio from the platform, you can upload it to a podcast hosting platform after you do it. But that's not a podcast, right? That's a live on Amazon. Live on Instagram. That's a live on TikTok. That's a live. That's not a podcast. If you can get the MP3 from those, you can put them on podcasting platforms. Now, I'm not saying that those are not good. Those are great. Especially if your audience is your local community who needs to vote for you. Those are great. Again, that's going to give you the engagement that you need. So if you can go, let's say you just love Instagram. I love Instagram. So I want to go live on Instagram. That's wonderful. Take the audio from the Instagram and then put it on podcast platforms. So now you got two platforms working for you at the same time. Guess what? You just did one podcast. You're going knocking on doors now. And the podcast is working for you, and the Instagram is still working for you. Take the same video that you did on Instagram and put it on YouTube. Guess what's happening? Now, you may be saying, well, Audrey, I don't know if they listen to YouTube. I don't know. Well, you don't know. But here's the thing. If you optimize your podcast, your video, your Instagram correctly, where people who are looking for Gwinnett County, Fulton County, Henry County, Clayton County, I'm calling the counties in Georgia because these are the ones I know, Dougherty County. When people are searching for things and you have an audio or a video out there, chances are you're going to pop up in the search engines if it's optimized correctly. Again, it's working for you. You're knocking on doors. It's working for you. You're at a breakfast somewhere. It's working for you and you're somewhere else. Can't raise the money, right? It's work. Let me just say this. That is another good way for you to start raising money because you could, I'll give you another example. So I was telling you about the minister that I host a podcast. I co-host a podcast with her every other Monday, right? So at the end of every episode, I close out the episode because I control the panel. I control all the controls for the show. So she'll say what she has to say to her closing part, then I'll close it out. And I'll say something like, listen, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to support Dr. Chen. Her name is Dr. Chen. Please support Dr. Chen and her mission. She's on a mission and the information that she brings is amazing. And you can help her keep this message going by supporting her and going to her website. Well, she picked up a sponsor and she said to me, you say that thing at the end of every show, I have a sponsor for the show. I say that at the end of every show. Now she has a sponsor. She's been doing her show for 1 year. Now she has a sponsor for the show because at the end of every show, I say that thing, that what I just said. Please support her by going to her website. They go to her website. She has ways for them to support her. She picked up a sponsor. At the end of every episode, you can say, listen, if you want me to represent you, I need your support. You can do that by clicking the link in the show notes. And donating to my campaign. That could be said, right? That could be a message that's said. Just like at the end of this episode, I'm going to say, look, if you need help starting your podcast, there's a link in the show notes. And there is a link. Click the link and pay the money and your girl will get you set up. I'll have you set up in a New York minute. And everybody knows a minute in New York is very short. But here's the other thing. You can increase your engagement because people can leave comments, right? If you're doing a live, they can come in live and leave live comments. You can have a two-way conversation right now on the platform that I'm using. If someone decided they want to come in and chat with me, there's a chat box. I'm sad about this because it's going away. This live part is going away in December, but right now I'm live. There's a chat bot. If they want to come in live and chat with me live, they can chat with me live. Now, if you want someone to call into your show live, there is a way for you to hook your iPhone directly to your platforms and people can call in and talk to you live. You can answer their questions live on the air. Now, what a lot of people don't like about that is that you can't control what they're going to say once you bring them on live, because it's live. So they may come on and start. Now, you can cut them off, right? You can hang up on them, but you can't control the first words that's going to come out of their mouth. So a lot of people, I know this because I've worked with some candidates, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to open it up for questions. We're not going to, because they know that they can't control the questions that's coming in. So the comment sections are closed. The chat sections are closed because they can't control what people are going to say and type. They want to control the narrative. However, if you wanted to engage with the community and get real raw feedback from people and see what they're feeling, I can tell you this. They may be spewing trash, right? But if you have an answer to the trash they're spewing, you may flip them. They may become the person that votes for you. When they came on there to tear you down and disrupt what you were trying to do, you may address some of the things that concerns them with a passionate heart. And they may say, you know what, I'm going to vote for her. You know why? Because she resonated with me. I know all the trash that they're talking about in the streets, but I talked to her and I felt like she heard me. I felt heard. That's what they're saying. So guess what? Because that's what they're saying, they felt heard. They're going to vote for you at the polls. That's what's going to happen. Engagement is important. And I said, I know I got 10, but you got to go to the website to get the other 5. I'm going to do number 5, and then I'm going to close the show out. Authenticity. Like, people that listen to this show know I'm the same way all the time. If you meet me in person, I might be a little bit more, I'm not going to say polished, because I don't think I'm polished at all. However, but I may be a little bit more reserved if you meet me in person, because I'm out there in the streets being professional. But behind this microphone, you get the real me. This is the real me, y'all. And if I was a candidate, this would be the real me. That's why I don't think I'll be a good candidate, because I can't be putting on airs all the time. I can't be out there faking the funk in the community all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's what candidates do. I just feel like they have to be so reserved most of the time. Like I've seen people who don't want to talk to certain people in public. They'll talk to you behind closed doors, but not in public. Because if someone sees us talking, they may think we're friends, and we just may be friends. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's not for me. But behind this microphone, you can be authentically you. You should be that anyway, but I get it. When you're in the public eye, you kind of got to roll back a little bit, fall back just a little bit. So that now that, because people are watching and they're scrutinizing everything you say and do. And I'm probably going to get some scrutiny about this one, but that's okay. Because I feel like there's a political candidate out there right now. He or she has a small budget, and they're trying to figure out where to put that last couple of $1,000s, and they don't know where. Because they have put so much money into direct campaign mailers, and people throw them in the trash. They go in the trash, y'all. And people don't remember probably who it was they saw anyway, because when the mailer comes into the house, the person is getting out the car, checking the mail. They got the kids, they got grocery bags, they're tired, they're aggravated, they got to come in, they got to cook. You got mail pile up from yesterday, you got mail pile up on top of that. And guess what happens? They sift through stuff, and everything that doesn't make sense goes in the trash. So yes, direct mailers work sometimes. I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying it's time for you to think outside of the box. If it were me and I was running a campaign, yeah, with the mailers, there would be a specific amount of money. But there will be a huge portion of money for content marketing. Huge. Know why? Because people can hear me, they can see me, they can feel my passion, they can see that I'm authentic, they can see that I'm engaged, they can see that I'm accessible everywhere, and they can have a personal connection with me on some level because they have seen and heard me over and over and over again for 4 years. I've been doing Good Morning Gwinnett for 6. I'm not running. I'm just saying, if it were me, that's what I would do. Listen, that's all I got for y'all. I'm going to go to my last song, then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to give you my words of inspiration. There are 10 tips, but you got to go to the website to get the last 5. GoodMorningGwinnett.com. Give me about 10 minutes, and it'll be a live site. I got to drop this link in the episode so people who missed it, they can go back and listen. Hear what I just said? I'm going to drop the link over on my website, GoodMorningGwinnett.com, to this episode. So if you missed a part of the episode and you don't feel like reading, you can click the button and listen again. You can click the button and share it with a friend. Somebody you know is running for office. Share the episode with a friend because they need to hear it. Yes, I'm trying to help y'all out. I'm trying to help y'all win. If you need help, it's a link in the show notes. Click the link, holler at your girl. You need to be putting some money into this podcasting space if you're running a campaign. You need to have a podcast app. You need to be everywhere when you're at another location. This is how you duplicate yourself. Content is how you duplicate yourself. You know how many nights I go to bed looking at YouTube? Like, honestly, people live on the other side of the world. But guess what? They put in something that interests me, and I will sit there to 2 o'clock in the morning watching what they're saying. Whatever that is. Whatever's on my mind when I lay down at night, because this is how I go to bed. Whatever's on my mind when I lay down at night, I go straight to YouTube. I click in what I'm looking for, and people pop up. Now, the good thing about YouTube is that they know what I like now. So I don't have to even do a whole lot of searching. You know why? Because they put it in my feed so I can see these things. Oh, this may interest her. They do the same thing for you. When you look at something and you see something pop up in your feed that you may like, and you're like, how did that get there? Well, the algorithms are tracking you. They know this is what you're looking at. And so that now they're going to feed it to you. If you run an ad to a podcast episode, like I'm probably going to run to this one. If you run an ad to a podcast episode and it gets in front of 3,000 people and they watch it or they listen to it, right? Guess what's going to happen? The next episode you put out automatically is going to go to them. You know why? Because when you ran the ad, the algorithm said, wow, they stayed on there and they listened for like 7 minutes. They must like this. Let's send them more from this person who did this podcast. It's a science, right? But all you need to do is get on the microphone and expand your message area. That's all. You don't have to worry about the back, what YouTube, what Google is doing, what Bing is doing, what they're doing. What you need to do is put out the message, put out the content. That's what you need to do. You don't need to worry about the rest of that stuff because the big dogs already have that figured out. They're going to help you, but you got to first help yourself. If you want to reach more people, put your message out on a podcast, put your message out on a video, do both. I'm not saying don't do the mailers. I'm just telling you, in my house, they're going to trash. In my house, I create a list of people to vote for. If your name was on a mailer that went in the trash and I didn't see it or I don't know you, your name is not on that list of people to vote for when I send that list out for people to vote. It's just how it's done. It sounds crazy, but I need them to vote, right? If I don't put that list out, a lot of them don't listen. If I don't tell my husband these are the people we're voting for, he will forget about voting. If I will do the same to my daughter. They don't like politics. I do. You know, my uncle will say, hey, make sure to get me my ballot so I can vote, right? So I let him do his ballot at home so he can be really involved. But I'll give him a list. These are the people you're going to vote for. That's how it happens. So if your name was on the flyer that went in the trash, because I looked at the picture like I don't know that person and trashed it, it's in the trash. But if I listen to your podcast, if I feel your authenticity through the microphone, if I know that you're out there engaging with the community, I'm talking about really engaging. Listen, if you're thinking about becoming a political leader, a community leader, start your campaign 4 years in advance. Get to know the people. Don't just pop up like 6 months before the campaign to my vote. Nobody's going to do that. You know, your friends will, and they may tell a couple of friends. You may go on somebody else's list, but that's a hard campaign to run. You know, I've heard people say, I missed the vote by 60 votes. Now, there are some people that are just out there. They're out there. They're knocking on doors. You know, they're putting out flyers and they still miss the vote. Why? Because they have not leveraged all of the things that they could leverage. They didn't see how that could really help them. You know how much time I spend talking about tech and media? A lot. And people will still say, oh, AI is not for me. Oh, podcasting is not for me. And it may not be. It's because it's not for everybody. But I bet you this, if your girl was running a political campaign, guess what? I will have a podcast. I will have a podcast talking to my people all the time. Yep, I would. About what we could be doing to make our community better and stronger and to empower people. And at the end of the 4 years, this is why you should vote for me. That's what I would say. All right, listen, I'm going to go to my last song. Then I'm going to come back and give you my words of inspiration. So stay tuned. I'll be right back.
me. Yeah, my eyes are open wide. So you want me to set you free? Take a walk with me outside. Tell me everything about you. Yeah, 'cause I really wanna know. You can ride with me forever. Yeah, anywhere you wanna go. Night is over the park and a few bright stars. I give you the moon and my all is yours. Don't hesitate, just give me your all. Just give me your all. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'll show it love. Let's go for gold. Let's go for gold. If we ever was lost before, now we finally found our way. And love is stronger than anything. We will make our own way. Night is over the park and a few bright stars. I give you the moon and my all is yours. Don't hesitate, just give me your all. Just give me your all. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'm so in love. Let's go for gold. Yeah, yeah. Let's go for gold. So let's fly into a dream I won't deny. I'm so in love. Let's go for gold. Yeah, let's go for gold.
Welcome back, welcome back. So listen, guys, that's all I got for you today, but I want to give you my words of inspiration. Here goes. You have to think outside of the box. You have to change your thinking if you desire to have a future different from your present. Ooh, let me say it one more time because somebody missed it. You have to think outside of the box. You have to change your thinking if you desire to have a future different from your present. Listen, this is so... Germany Kent said that, and Germany Kent was right. If I were running, I would run a campaign with content creation a part of it. I wouldn't give up the flyers. But here's the thing. When people got the flyer, they would have seen my face, my video in a video ad. So now they know me because now they got the flyer. They've seen my face in a video ad. Here's how I know they'll see my face in a video ad. If they have a TV, right? They watch Tubi and Peacock, Hulu. They can see my face. I was watching, what was I watching one night? I think I was watching Tubi. Now, Tubi is not a channel that I watch very often. But for some strange reason, and this was about, I think this was last year, I think this was last year. I'm watching Tubi, right? And I don't think I can count on one hand how many times I've watched Tubi. Something was on. It popped up in like the ad on my Roku TV. And I was like, oh, it was a show. Let me watch that, right? So for anybody who knows, Tubi is one of those TV channels that you see a lot of black stuff on. And I don't watch it for various reasons. Not because it's black stuff on them, but for other reasons. But anyway, I digress. I'm watching Tubi this night because an ad popped up on my Roku TV with a show that's, let me check this out. And I want to say it was a show about entrepreneurship because that's normally what I'm looking for. I'm laying there in the bed, probably around 12 o'clock at night, and Congresswoman Lucy McBath pops up on the screen on Tubi. And I'm like, Holy crap, I didn't even know Tubi had commercials. So I take my phone out off the nightstand and I videotape her political campaign ad on the TV. And I send it to my friend Derek, who now has a whole TV network for advertisers. I send it to Derek. I'm like, look at this. At the time, we were working with another political candidate that was running against her. We were working with another candidate that was running against her. She wasn't on Tubi. And I'm like, holy crap. And she won. So Congresswoman Lucy McBath won that election. And our client did not. And the reason being was because the money weren't spent right. I talked about podcasting. I was like, look, I talked about this. Some Instagram lives was all that was done. And it stopped right there. I can't force people to do that. All I know is Lucy was everywhere. I was on YouTube. Now I'm on YouTube every night. I'm on YouTube. Guess what Lucy was? Lucy was on YouTube. She probably was on podcasts. She was everywhere. That's the kind of campaign I would run. You would see me pop up on blogs. You would see me pop up on podcasts. I would have my own podcast. I would be on Hulu. I'd be at your front door. I'd be at the grocery store. But that would be all of the things that I put out. I would be on your mobile phone. I would have an app. You go scan me at the gas station. I would be everywhere. I would leave no stone unturned in my campaign if I were running. And best believe, I've been doing podcasting since 2009. I know the power of a podcast. I know. I've been doing Good Morning Gwinnett for 6 years. I have over 1,070 episodes. So that's consistency. And I do this because I love what I do. And I know the power that it holds. If I were running a campaign, listen, I would start 4 years out. And guess what would be number one on top of my political marketing? Podcasting. So all I got for you today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but spent the last 42 minutes with me. I hope somebody who's running for office heard this podcast episode. You know why? Because if you want to win, you got to be everywhere. You got to think outside of the box. If you know that you are committed to making the community better, not just for the sake of a title, because a lot of folks run because they want the title. You know that you're going to dig in, get your hands dirty in the dirt with the people. Start a freaking podcast. Go out there and promote the podcast. Listen, if you hold this podcast, because when I'm elected, I'm still going to talk to you through this podcast. I'm still going to send you notifications through this podcast. You can still reach out to me through this podcast. Hey, that lives on with them. Let me tell you what I would do. I would go into the senior citizen homes, like the buildings where the people live at, the assisted living, because they don't have a whole lot of outside, connections, right? They don't know a lot about what's going on in the community. And I'm giving away some free game right now. Y'all need to pay me for this. I will go in there and I will make sure they all downloaded my app to their little phone. They all got the little phone, the little free phone from the government. You can get apps on there. Download the app from the app store, my app, my podcast app, so that they can get a notification. I'll show them how to check the notification. They get the notification, and guess what they can do? They can listen to my voice. And when they get the ballot that's mailed to them because they can't get out and vote, guess what they're going to say? Oh, I listened to that girl on that podcast. And they're going to vote for me. Listen, y'all better recognize, stop playing. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed giving it to you. I really did. And I'm telling you, every time I think about it, you know how many people have said run for office? I don't know. One day they may tell me to run for office and I may just say yes. It's been a couple of years now that I've been asked. I may just say yes. I'm not polished enough though. Someone said to me, Orgy, that's why they need you, because you're not polished. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if they're ready for that. I'm a girl that grew up in the inner city of Newark. I got some rough edges, baby. And I'm proud of them. Newark made me who I am along with my mother. So all I got for you, could be anywhere in the world. You spent the last 44 minutes with me. Listen, if you need help getting that podcast started, you still got some time before your campaign season is over. There's a link in the show notes. Click the link, pay for the service, email me, and I will be right there to help you get set up. We can get you set up in 7 days. You got 7 days. You want to get the message out there? Let's go. Let's go. Stop playing around. Let's get it. Click the link in the show notes. Be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. God willing. You guys stay safe out there. Enjoy this beautiful 80-something degrees weather today. Until next time, my friends. Until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you like this episode, subscribe now and share with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit noisemedia.us.